wanted to do until I was about 38. And I know there must be millions of kids nowadays that's kind of, in a way, suffering from the same way that I did. Shyness, awkwardness, not knowing whether it's your right to speak, you know, and so on and so forth. So that's how initially I set it out. I do a stupid amount of hours each week, even now, but I love it. It doesn't feel like work because I'm doing something that I wake up every single morning and go, can't wait for today. Can't wait to go see the kids at that school, or work at this event here, or go to this library. I love it. So it never feels like work.
Well, I'm here at the NEC in Birmingham on this beautifully sunny day for the UK Games Expo, which is the largest of its kind in the UK. Now in its 16th year, the UK Games Expo features hundreds of board game and role-playing game exhibitors, with thousands of people passing through its halls every year. It was there I met with Nigel Scarfe, who runs Imagination Gaming.
All those in there, in those spaces, now gaps. I'll give you a little clue. Yellow goes in the corner. Now, the best strategy is always fill the smallest part first.
Imagination Gaming helps people to engage and learn from various types of games. They've worked in schools, libraries and prisons, and they have a whole area at the Games Expo dedicated to showcasing their solutions.
We have kind of 3 golden rules for games when we bring them into Imagination Gaming.
I had so many questions to ask Nigel about his unique business, but I could tell he was a man in demand. So I arranged to meet him during one of his school visits up in his native Yorkshire. Well, I'm here at a special school in Leeds in Yorkshire to meet with Nigel and to see Imagination Gaming in action with the children here who have got a range of different emotional and behavioural needs, and to see really Nigel use a variety of different games in action. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that today.
Maybe change it.
Oh yes.
Wrong way.
Yes.
Maybe wrong way.
It could, yes. Maybe it's the wrong way.
Maybe wrong way.
We've got 2 spaces.
2 spaces.
And we need to add this, and... So initially it was more based around trying to use games to help kids socially sort of mix, think, problem solve across the tabletop together in kind of a fun way. It wasn't really as focused around curriculum subjects as it is now. It was more just about get kids to do more things across the tabletop together rather than screens and phones, which I could see back then were becoming a little bit of a problem. So initially it was just, let's sit down, let's play some fun games together, let's get them laughing and joking, knowing when to listen, knowing when to take turns, all this sort of stuff, which is quite a bit different to what we do now. But yeah, that was the outset, because I knew as a kid how that had affected me. And I know there must be millions of kids nowadays that's kind of, in a way, suffering from the same way that I did. Shyness, awkwardness, not knowing whether it's your right to speak, you know, and so on and so forth. So that's how initially I set it out.
With it being so evident that Nigel's drive and determination came from his own personal experiences, I was keen to hear about these firsthand.
I found everything in school probably a real struggle, to be honest. I left with virtually no qualifications. I've still got almost no qualifications now. I've got a lot of experience, but nothing on a piece of paper that says you're smart. So I struggled with an awful lot at school, I think. I struggled to fit in. I was very quiet, shy, insecure, no confidence. So whenever I think back, there were always a couple of English teachers that I had that I absolutely loved. They were the ones that kind of sparked my imagination. And it was when I was at secondary school that these English teachers were working with me, Mr. Snell and Mr. McGowan, if I remember rightly. And they just spoke with an air of creativity and imagination. Everything they said, they added a bit of flair to it that made it come alive. When they would read to the class, it was always an interesting thing to listen to. And it was around that time that a cousin of mine introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, oh my days, this is the best thing I've ever done. And it gave me this creative outlet that suddenly made me want to read more. And I was working stuff out all the time, and I could feel the effect it was having on me. And those two English teachers, I think, helped a great deal. They're the ones that kind of almost keep me going in school, whereas a lot of the other teachers, I couldn't even tell you the names. Yeah, I think Dungeons and Dragons, and there were a series of sort of choose your own adventure books back in the day. Those were the two things that really sparked the creative side of me. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons is a huge phenomenon now. It's never been as big as it is now. Things like Stranger Things have sort of kicked it all into a completely different gear. And back when we used to play it, I remember quite clearly that when we played D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, you were a geek, and not in a cool way. That absolutely sparked my imagination. I found that I was going to the library more and borrowing books on folklore and history and Rome, just to see if there's anything I could glean from that to put into one of my adventures. I was started drawing things and making maps of different things I wanted to run, and it just had a wonderful catalyst effect on me in sort of every aspect of my life. I was asking more people, do you want to play D&D? Do you want to do this? I was doing more calculations all the time, so I could feel I was getting better and more able with my numbers and so on and so forth. So it really kick-started so much for me. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I remember quite vividly saying to myself one day, if just one day I can have a tiny one-bedroom flat that's mine, I'd be happy. That was all I aspired to, something really simple and basic. I'd be delighted with that. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'd just do any job. I'd stack shelves. And my first job was a part-time job at Argos, literally just stacking shelves in the warehouse. And I was quite lucky that I had a manager that saw the fact that I worked really hard. So I didn't care what I was doing. I didn't really care what I was being paid. But I had a good work ethic, and I just worked bloody hard no matter where I was. And he recognised that, and then suddenly this part-time job became a full-time job, and then it became a promotion to supervisor, and suddenly I was going, oh, I'm all right, I'm doing okay, I'm not as hopeless as I imagined I was. I've got something about me. And then shortly after working there, I got a job in a record shop. That completely changed my life. That gave me a personality. I was paid sod all for about 9 years, and it was the best thing I'd done in my life at that stage. Just because of the whole social side of it. It was a mad place to work. And I'd always loved music. I'd been collecting film music since I was about 12-year-old. I still do that now. I absolutely have a passion for that. And suddenly I was introduced to all this new music, and people coming in the record shop every day that were passionate about music. So I got these conversations going off in so many different streams with so many different people. And it got me used to socialising, carousing, having these conversations with people, and having a slightly different way to talk to different people based on what they were into, how old they were, how they behaved. And it got me loving that interaction even more. So yeah, that really kick-started me as an adult, giving me a personality. Because up to that stage, I didn't really have much of a personality. I was so quiet, so polite, so terrified of everything. I think prior to that, I'd always thought, if I was really into something, keep it to myself. Don't tell anyone in case they don't like it, or you upset them, or worry about what everyone else is thinking about, and worry about what everyone else's opinion of you is. And I started to realise that really doesn't matter. Are you happy? Are you into this? Talk about it, do it more. Because the more you do it, the more you talk about it, the more you meet other people that are going, oh, I love music. My God, D&D. I play D&D as well. We ended up going to games clubs, ended up seeing a few bands, all this sort of stuff you do, collecting more records. I was just, oh my God, like a kid in a sweet shop. Everything was just, wow. I couldn't wait. And I loved that job for so many years. I mean, it got to the point where at the end I'm like, you know what, I've done my time here. Time to try and earn some money. But it helped so much. But by the sort of time where I was leaving the record shop, I was like, okay, so I've got a girlfriend, I've got a house, need to pay some bills, So I started looking around for other things. So I applied for a job around a store in Meadowhall, and I ended up getting a job at Toys R Us, around some Toys R Us stores. Did quite well at both of these. And while I didn't really enjoy the jobs as such, it gave my confidence a huge boost, because I was proving to myself, I can do this. Here's another challenge. Yeah, I've done that now as well. Here's another challenge. Yeah, I've got that promotion. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm going to run that store. And I started believing in my own worth and seeing, do you know what? You've done a really good job there. And it's been recognised by these other people higher up the food chain as such. And they're seeing that this guy has got the ability to do things. And while I was there, I was sort of asked to go from toys to another company. This other company approached me and said, look, we want you to come and work for us and do X, Y, and Z, which is what I did. And they had their toes working in education, which is the first time I was able to see, actually, there may be something that I can do with my sort of love of games and creativity and just wanting to help people. I've always wanted to try making a difference, put something back into the world. And while I was at that company, we did almost like a trial run of it to see if it would work, and it was a big success. And that kind of made my mind up to go, do you know what? I need to go and do this just for me. I want to prove to me, and I've always tried to prove things to myself that I can do this. And that's what I set out and did. And I would never really look back since, to be honest.
Oh, you first, dude. 24.
Almost the only thing I had was a passion and a drive to do it. And I was confident enough to go, do you know what, no matter what comes up, the chances are I'll probably be able to do it. Or at least make a start on it, or pull people around me that can potentially help me and do things like this. So it was literally almost a blank canvas of what would it look like? How would you go about doing it? I guess there was a part of me that thought, am I going to be able to do this? But it was that whole thing of, yeah, but if I don't try, I'll never know. I have to try. I don't want to look back in a few years and go, oh my days, I wish I'd done that. So I always had that determination and drive. And that's the one thing I think you always need when setting up a company. If you are not ultimately determined, and you have to make some big sacrifices, so a lot of like the going out and the friends, I couldn't do that anything like the amount I wanted to do, because I'm working away this weekend doing this. I do a stupid amount of hours each week, even now, but I love it. It doesn't feel like work, because I'm doing something that I wake up every single morning and go, can't wait for today. Can't wait to go see the kids at that school, or work at this event here, or go to this library. I love it. So it never feels like work, but it's still a lot of hours to put in.
Exactly. So that are all classed as blank. So that's the last card, guys. Add up your score. So you're adding up that plus that. Take away this.
What I found is people always buy people. So I could have a great idea, but if they don't believe me, if they don't believe in me, then it won't work. And I found that people do seem to like and believe in me. They say often that they can feel the passion that I've got for it. It comes through. And that's often made some of them say, you know what, let's give this guy a try and see what it's like. And then when we've gone in and delivered, they've gone, that's brilliant. Initially, yeah, there's always going to be times where I'm like, flipping heck, that bank account doesn't look very big. I'm struggling with this and that, and no holiday this year. And it's the one thing that, in a way, I'd wish it had been easier. I can't say it's been easy to do it, but I'm so glad I did it for 17 years, where we're getting to the point at the moment where we're almost going, oh, God, there's a lot of work in at the moment. It's a very different sort of problem to have, but to get that problem, we had to go through a lot of other problems, but it's been worth it. And I've learned so much, and I've met so many amazing people, and just so many kids that are like, stick my head in the classroom, they're like, Nigel's here, and they go nuts, and it is so rewarding to get that when you stick your head into a classroom. You think, you know what, that's what it's about. I made a difference, and it feels so good, and it's just like, yes, oh, what else can I do this week? What else can I add to the company now? It just keeps driving you, and it's inspiring every day. We never thought initially that we'd be going into women's institutes, into dementia clubs, running a lot of library events across the summer, working in prisons, doing all the things like Comic-Cons around the UK. That was never part of the initial picture of where we saw it fitting. And yet we kind of saw opportunities where we think, you know what, let's try this, let's try that. And that really paid dividends in terms of the number of people that we would meet because of that were teachers that then said, oh, I'd like to come to our school and do this and that. And so by hitting the problem of schools are going, we don't have much money, and having to diversify what our offer was across the board, it was another lot of work, but we always stayed positive. And we just found that by doing this and trying the other things, it opened up yet more doors. You have to be very, very flexible. You're keeping your ears open for things that you overheard somebody saying, oh, that'd be really good. What if we could do this? What if we could do that? And I think retaining that and not getting too set in the ways of what we offer is just this. It's fun games days in schools. It's like, no, school's changing, kids are changing. We need to look at what we offer, how we offer it, throw new ideas in there. The range of games that we started off, I think we had, when we first set the company up, we had about 25 games that we would use. Now we have about 600. It's ridiculous. It's just I can't remember all the rules. It drives me nuts. But all these games do different things. And we've got new plans going into the sort of next school term where we're looking at aligning things even more closely to the curriculum and designing some games to do specific curriculum tasks and so on. So, whenever we go into a school, we always say to the teachers, our job is not to come in and teach maths. You've probably got teachers whose job it is to do that. What we're going to do is go in with games that give the kids 100 different ways of applying things that you are teaching so they can see a relevance to it, so they can practice doing it and go, oh, that makes sense now. So I would love to see imagination gaming really getting into the curriculum and actually having a portfolio of games that teaches all the specific topics within the curriculum, that we can go in alongside a teacher teaching it, we can then go in and get the kids to apply it. Because I think the difference in attainment through doing that would be huge. It would be massive. We can see anecdotally the evidence of that all the time in schools by what we go in and do, and the kids who work with regular, you can see the effect on them. So if we could do that across the maths curriculum, for instance, I think kids' ability to use maths and see how they can use that in different areas of their own lives would be phenomenal. I always approached it trying to deal with it as I would want somebody to deal with me. So we never tried to be what a kid wants. We tried to be what a kid needs. We tried to be a good male role model, or when some of the staff go in, a good female role model that is sort of firm but fair, but always fun, full of energy. You've always got to be, if you're working in a school, I always think you've got to be the brightest light in that school. if you're dull, boring, no charisma, not enthusiastic, the kids are just going to ignore you. You have to go in there. The kids say to me, "Sir, how are you today?" My answer is always, "Powerful." And the kids go, "Whoa, that's it." But it sets it off in the right place. And even I say that to the staff. Staff look at me, think I'm a little bit weird. But once they get to know me, they go, "I get what he's on about." It doesn't matter what the challenge is with a kid. They've all kind of got something in common in a way that they want someone at an age where they're designed to learn and absorb information. They just want the right person in front of them that's going to put that information across in the right way. And for a lot of the kids, you've got to bear in mind, even say like year 3 and 4, they've never even rolled a dice. So their parents have not spent any time sat playing games and doing that sort of stuff with them. And it's so important. Yes, it can be maths. Yes, it can be literacy, but it's also patience, resilience, knowing when to speak, knowing now you've got to actually sit and you need to listen. You don't learn by speaking, you learn by listening. Little things like that you try to leave with the kids. The games that we use are all they've all got things in common. I can teach them in 30 seconds. I can play them in 5-10 minutes tops, and they've all got really good replay value. And you'll notice there are very few games that have luck involved. So very often it won't be a case of roll a dice, move around the board. Because if you keep rolling 6s and I roll 1s, I'm doomed. And there's nothing I can do about it. See, we try to work with the kids with the right games that say to the kids, if you work hard and you think hard, you're going to get better. But you're going to feel yourself getting better. So even when they lose, they go, I'm getting it now. You're always going to make mistakes no matter what you do in life, whether it's personal relations, whether it's business. Things are never going to go easy or correct all the time. That's just not how life works. Life's not designed to be fair. It's designed to be lived, and that's all you can do. And that's all I've tried to do. And put my hand up when I'm not doing something right. I'm far from perfect. But I try to make up for things that I've not quite done right, or I've tried to look after the people that have worked with us, or try to look after me. But yeah, sometimes you make mistakes and you just have to look back and go, you know what, that chapter's done. Move on, start again, reignite your imagination and your enthusiasm, move forward. Don't look backwards, just look forwards. Stop worrying about what everyone else thinks about you. Stop worrying about it. Because all those people, the vast majority eventually, you won't know them, they'll have moved on. And they won't lose any sleep worrying about you at all. Focus on yourself. Be honest with yourself. Be really, really honest with yourself. What are you good at? What are you not good at? Find something you're really good at. Do it. You'll be fine if you do that. Don't worry about other people. Don't what if they say this? What if they think this? It doesn't matter. If you were really passionate about something, follow it. Do it. Because you'll be amazed at the positivities that you'll glean from that. And don't be afraid of trying as many different things as possible. We always say to kids, when a door opens in front of you, walk through it, try it. Try that opportunity. If once you've tried it, you don't like it, that's fair enough. You gave it a go. But you might find out you're the best artist in the world, or the best sculptor in the world. But if you don't walk through that door and try it, you will never know. And I would say that to myself. I keep repeating that all the time. Don't worry about what people think. And if you really enjoy something, do it more. Just keep doing it. You know, that's, if you can find a job that you love, doing something that you really enjoy, absolutely do it.
Well, I've only been here at the school for a few hours, but I can see what an extraordinary place it is. Some amazing kids, and they're all presenting different challenges that Nigel has worked through. You know, from behavioural issues to emotional and educational issues as well. But of course, this is just one place. It's one school, and Imagination Gaming works with a variety of different schools. They're all different places, prisons, colleges, organisations. The common thread is gaming. And Nigel, at an early age, realised that gaming was something that brought him out of his shell, that gave him confidence and a voice in life. And he recognised that if it could do that with him, there was an opportunity to do that with others. He believes in other people, he's a people person. But it was his skill really to use the concept of gaming to help other people overcome their own challenges. And it really is amazing to see it in action. It's one thing doing something in life that you're passionate about, that you enjoy. It's another thing at the same time doing something that makes such a difference. And this really does. It's incredible. Having taken so many positives from my day in Leeds, perhaps it's fitting that the last word should go to Nigel himself. I asked him if he had a message for those who are struggling to decide what it is they want to do in life.
I had no idea what I wanted to do until I was about 38. Absolutely no idea. No qualifications, but I had a good work ethic. So no matter what job I was in, I worked hard. And it got recognised because I just worked hard. So yeah, qualifications help open different doors, but it's not the end of the world. If you like cars, go down to your nearest garage and say to the guy that owns that garage, can I come down on a Saturday and work for you? I'll do it for free. And let me just get an experience of how it all works and how that sort of industry works. Go and put yourself out there, because it seems like there are so few kids nowadays that do that. It's almost so unexpected. I think there'd be so many businesses out there going, wow, I didn't expect a kid to do that. We have a kid working for us now that came exactly the sort of same way, just offered his time. Brian Ward thought, God, that's unusual. He does everything with us now. He's doing an apprenticeship with us soon. He's a phenomenal kid, absolutely brilliant. And he put himself out there. So don't think that just because you don't have a qualification and you don't have whatever it might require, like a vision of where you want to be in the future, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. As long as you're doing something and you're not afraid of working hard, generally in life, I think you're usually going to be all right. It's just get out there, talk to people. Don't be afraid of having conversations with strangers, particularly when it comes to things regarding work and opportunities that might avail themselves to you. Just talk to people, because people are so taken aback by that nowadays, and they think, wow, this person, this boy, this girl's had this sort of goal to sort of come up to us and ask us this. Wow, how refreshing. Yeah, I'd love to try that with you. I'd love to give you a few hours if you can do it for free. And you might find that once you start doing it, you might be really good at it. And suddenly they're going, well, actually, I'll keep you on. So I'll pay you a few hours bits here and there in a week and doing this. You never know. Just push yourself. Don't wait for anyone in life to push you. Push yourself. Because if you're waiting for somebody else to do it, you'll be waiting a long time. Life is too short. Push yourself now.